What's going on YouTube? My name is Sean. I'm an illustrator, and today we're going to talk about using references. How many you should use, what is a reference, and how do you use them. We're going to break them down and then we're going to throw those techniques into this illustration of Chun Li. Well, first, what is a reference? A reference is anything that you're going to look at to reference from for your illustration. I don't know any better way to break it down other than that. So why collect reference? You want to collect reference before you start an illustration so you know what you're doing, because you're wasting time if you're just going to draw something thinking that you know what you're doing if you don't have a reference. So of course you want to use a reference because it's going to inform what you're drawing. You know, it's important for proportions whenever you're drawing anything, and it helps you if you want to stylize something. You can't stylize anything if you don't have a base to begin with. So how many references? Depends on how comfortable you are with the subject matter. I try to stick to like 4 or 5 references, especially if it's a character. I already know what a human body looks like. I'm confident with my gesture drawing, so all I need is, if I'm doing a fan art piece, which is what I'm about to do later, I only need the, character design reference, maybe a pose reference, maybe a lighting reference, and maybe some detail references. So to break that down for this Chun Li piece, Chun Li, the costume that I'm going to reference, she has hair buns, but they're exposed. They're not in the white wraps that you usually see them in if you're a Street Fighter fan. So I want a hair bun reference so I know what I'm drawing. I don't want to just go based off of the character design with that, because if I'm going to decide to do a portrait piece, I want to know the intimate details. Yeah, those are the main reasons why you need references. So now we're gonna go into this piece and I'm gonna show you what references I collected, and I'm gonna show you how I use those throughout the piece, and then we'll come out with a finished illustration at the end of this.
So as you can see, the references I collected are this girl with the hair buns, in-game screenshot of Chun Li, this girl jumping, and then right now what you see is this reference that I took. We'll get to that in a minute. But this is Chun Li from Fortnite. I wanted to go with this costume because it's the most popular right now, and this is what people are gonna know. So I picked that. So the reason I shot my own reference was because I was having a hard time with the shoes. So what I decided to do was shoot my own reference of my own shoes, because they're similar shape, they're similar type running shoes, and use that as a reference, and that helped me get the foreshortening on the shoes. I end up changing it later in the final piece, but you'll see the final piece at the end. So right now I'm just working on these shoes, getting it right, trying to get a closer view of one of my shoes. I sat on the floor because I couldn't jump and do this pose because I'm in the house and I don't want to break anything. So sometimes you just gotta figure things out that way. The last reference I have that I did talk about was that picture of Bruce Lee. I knew I wanted her to do a jumping kick, so I needed a reference, and I remembered seeing a picture of Bruce Lee doing it. I chose that as the reference for that. So a lot of this process is you pick your references based on the ideas that you have, and you mix those references together and you use them to create your piece. A lot of creativity is, if not all of it, is, seeing different things and mixing ideas together and coming out with something that is unique. That's what my plan was going into this piece, or anytime I work on anything, is to, you see some things that are interesting and you connect some dots, and then you express your interest or the interesting idea in the piece that you work on. So right now I'm trying to work on the bottom, the soles of the shoes. I was having a hard time with it. Even this design I'm coming up with, I don't stick with. And I ended up doing some research and getting some pictures of shoe treads to try to figure out a design, but I ended up changing it. So right now, what I'm doing is, I won't call it line art because I'm not using, I have a brush tool preset that I use for line art, and this isn't that brush. This is the same brush I use to sketch. So this is more like a clean sketch, and I'm just using this brush because I can set it to overlay later and it'll blend with the colors. So when I come to do the overpaint for this piece, I won't have such a hard time blending the lines with the colors on this piece. So right now I'm just going around the piece, cleaning everything up, doing clean line art or clean line work. Drawing the shoelaces, getting the shoe finalized. And that's what this part of the process is about, is finalizing all the details in the sketches and making everything clean, so when I go into color, I know what the details are, I know how they look, and then when I get to lighting everything, I know how the forms should look when they're lit up and everything. Funny thing about the shoe is that sometimes in a piece you'll work, you'll spend time on something and you get away from it maybe for like a day or two. You come back and then you just redo the whole thing, and it does not look, the final product does not look exactly the same as what you started with. So, and that's just a part of the process. Sometimes you have to really look at your piece and see what's not working. Once you find those things that's not working, you just do the work that it takes to either get rid of it or put something in its place that will work, or you figure out a way to make it work. So you can't be lazy if you want to make good work. So you just got to keep at it. Be patient with yourself. So right now I'm adding the flat colors. This is when I start to reference that piece from that Fortnite piece, and I start color selecting from that reference, and I insert these colors. Now I'm starting the lighting process. I'll talk about my process for lighting another time, but it's very simple.
That is how you use a reference to create an illustration. Here is the final piece right here. I did some work off camera just to clean it up a little bit, make it look a little better. Thank you for everyone who's made it up to this point. And before I go, please be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. And if you have any input, any criticisms, or any ideas of content you would like to see next, please be sure to leave your suggestions in the comments below. I'll look at them and I will reply as quickly as I can. And again, my name is Sean. Thank you for watching my video.